Clemson, South Carolina, noon o'clock. We give you a full preview and a prediction. Locked on Gamecocks starts right now.
You are Locked On Gamecocks, your daily podcast on the South Carolina Gamecocks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Locked On Gamecocks. I'm your host, Chris Marler. We are back and better than ever, back here in Atlanta, getting ready for the rivalry week slate of games. I'm very fired up, and I know y'all are fired up as well, so we have a good show for you today. Appreciate everyone that is making Locked On Gamecocks your first listen each and every day. Shout out to our everydayers for doing that. Remember, we are a free and available podcast wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, as well as on YouTube. And we, again, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, unless you have Spectrum. Anyway, today's episode is brought to you by our good friends at Game Time. Guys, you guys have heard me talk about Game Time a ton, and I will continue to do so, but make sure you go sign up, download the app, start an account, and then use the promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. We are going to be doing that again for this upcoming week. I've used Game Time app before. I've used a lot of our products before, but especially Game Time app because we're going to be going to Creed again on Wednesday because I'm white trash and I love it. Divorced Dad Rock is the best, guys. Anyway, let's get into today's show. Clemson, South Carolina tomorrow. Listen, we took a break for Thanksgiving. I hope all of you had a fantastic Thanksgiving and enjoyed hanging with the family, maybe arguing with the family, going back and forth. There's a big game tomorrow in Clemson, South Carolina, and I know that y'all are fired up about it, just like me. So here's the thing. Let's just get into the things that concern me most and the keys to the game. And then I'll give you score prediction, all that kind of stuff at the end. But I've talked all week, and you guys know how I am. I talk very, very highly about South Carolina as much as possible, and we talked about the offensive line issues at Clemson over the last 15 years. Under Dabo Swinney. So right off the bat, keys to the game, it is stopping Clemson's pass rush. Like just right off the bat, first and foremost, that is what has to be done more than anything else. I'm going to bring up some numbers here. Just from a betting standpoint, we've talked about this before. We'll get into more of it later as well. Nothing too shocking. Like the line has come down from 5 down to 2.5, and that all seems pretty normal. I don't think there's anything that's going to stand out too much from there. But one of the things, or one of the reasons why, is because the overwhelming amount of public money that is on South Carolina. So only 67% of the bets are on South Carolina. 77% of the money is on South Carolina, which I always feel like is very interesting. But going back to what I said is the biggest deal, okay? It is the offensive line, and we talked about this nonstop with South Carolina and talking about how they're going to get the quarterback and like this is a Clemson offensive line that's given up they've given up 18 sacks in the year. I think they've given up the 64th, I want to say, most tackles for losses as well. Like they have not been some dominant offensive line by any stretch of the imagination, right? And I don't think anyone thought that they would be going into this game. But what does concern me, and it's the key to the entire game, guys, the key to the entire game, it's South Carolina's offensive line, right? Now, you talk about in the last 4 games, they've given up 4 total sacks. 3 of those came last week, though, to Wofford, and I don't love that. That being said, one of the stats I love most, it's not just in terms of sacks allowed, and tackles for loss allowed, but you talk about wreaking havoc and havoc rankings. Action Network does a tremendous job with this. And let me explain what it is first, because I know some of you are, like little numerical and analytic nerds like me, and you want to learn as much of the numbers as possible. But here's the thing. So these are havoc rankings, okay? Havoc is defined by several plays that can change the momentum for both teams. So it includes tackles for loss, it includes pass breakups, forced fumbles, anything like that. Havoc allowed, meanwhile, encompasses a team's ability to prevent tackles for loss, throw interceptions, or fumble the football. So here's where I'm going to go with this. here are the numbers. And I don't think it's going to shock you, right? Because it looks pretty much similar to the sack numbers for South Carolina on offense and defense. South Carolina's havoc rank, defensive havoc rank is 13th in the country. Fantastic. Top 15 in the country, nationally. Love that. South Carolina's havoc ranked allowed 124. Ironically enough, the 124 ranking out of 134 teams is exactly where they rank in sacks allowed as well. I can't remember the total they allow, but it's like 32. It doesn't really matter. But it has not been good, right? They rank 15th in the SEC in sacks allowed. They rank 124th nationally. I'm looking at, the total is 36. They've got 36 sacks this season. It's just not great. And they've done better. You talk about giving up 4 over the last 4 games. That's a significant improvement. That's marked improvement from when they've been before. It's still not where we need to be. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not where we need to be. Now, Clemson, on the other hand, they rank 7th defensively and 38th offensively. Here's where I think that number is a little bit skewed. And just hear me out here. And this is another part. It's going to segue into the 2 most important parts of this game. But I think up front is where it starts. So where Clemson has been like this season with allowing tackles for loss, I just told you the numbers. They're like 60-something. Like, they're not in the top half of the country. Sacks allowed, they've allowed 18. I think that's like 52nd or something like that in the country. Like, that's not great. Like, 18 is, so Clemson ranks 51st in sacks allowed this year, but by giving up 18 total in the game. It's tied with Alabama. It's tied with a couple other teams, but it's right around that level, right? The havoc thing, I think, is a little bit skewed because it's based off of your ability to protect the football. Now, here's what I'll say. And I'm not trying to make excuses for South Carolina versus Clemson. But when you talk about like being able to prevent self-inflicted wounds, South Carolina did a really bad job of that for most of the beginning of the season. If we're being honest, for most of the beginning of the season, they really did. Clemson, you have a quarterback, Cade Klubnik, who's got, he's a former 5-star, all that kind of stuff, and they've been better on offense this year. But you talk about the fact that, like, hold on, I'm going to sneeze. I don't want to brag, but I paused the show so you didn't have to hear my sneeze. Side note, we went down to my girlfriend's family for their Thanksgiving, and a few of them listened to the show. A few of them were Clemson fans. But they listened to the show, and several of them brought up my inability to just mute myself when I cough. So I apologize to all of you for that. But anyway, so back to what I'm talking about. Cade Klubnik has been really good this year protecting the football. 29 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's great. My first part, like of the 3 parts that I think are most important up front, you have got to figure out a way to continue this ability that you've seen from Dow Loggins, you've seen from Shane Beamer, you've definitely seen from LaNorris Sellers. Move the ball. Do not get yourself in 2nd and 12s, 2nd and 9s, 3rd and 9s. Remember that conversation we had before? I think it was Ole Miss. We were talking about how like South Carolina's like their 3rd downs. So many of their 3rd downs were seemingly always like 3rd and 7 or longer. Like an overwhelming majority. It was like 50%. It was like something crazy like that. It might have been more than that. They were in those situations, and that sucks. Like that's just not good, right? I really do feel like I feel like, let's see if we can find this. Here we go. I do feel like that so often, right? You've had 71 total 3rd downs this season. It has gotten so much better. 44 of the 71 3rd downs on passing at least were 3rd and 7 or longer. That's not great, right? That's not great. But you start looking at some of the other numbers from it, it's not as bad. I think the total number on the year, it's like 75 out of 150. So it's right down the middle. 50% have been 3rd and 7 or longer. You have got to stay ahead of the chains. I don't know what that's broken down to per game, but it has felt like overwhelmingly in the last several weeks, you've been in 2nd and short. You've been in a 2nd and 4 and a 3rd and 2. You've been in a 2nd and 6 and a 3rd and 3. Like These are all things that are positives. You're moving the ball forward. You're not getting behind the change. And that's not where this team can live. It can't live like that on the road, and it can't live like that, like especially against a rival like Clemson, who is going to get upfield and get after the quarterback. They still have a really good defensive line. So I need to know from this offensive line, are you going to be able to continue to move the ball forward, stay in front of the chains or ahead of the chains, and go from there? That is the biggest concern I have. That is the first of the three most important things to win this game. That's the first of the three keys to win this game. And I don't think it's a secret. Listen, they've been great this year at the last half of the season. In November, they've been playing their best football. So again, the A&M team, or the A&M game, A&M's a team that is really, really, really good. Ugh, Georgia Tech's uniforms are terrible. It's really, really good at getting to the quarterback, and they have a pass rush that is like ferocious and constant and just in your face the whole game. You have 0 sacks. You did it another week against Vandy, right? Like I think it was 0-1. Like you've done a really good job of protecting the quarterback. Just continue to do it, brother. Just continue to do it. That is the first key to beating Clemson on Saturday. There are two more. And I tell you what, guys, outside of that one, I feel pretty good about the other two. We're going to get into those. Make sure you stick around. Locked On Gamecocks continues next. It's Friday. We're going to have some wine. We're going to have a nice little evening here. And we're having the wine because it's Garnet, guys. All right? It's a nice cab, full-bodied. I'll tell you what, another thing that is full-bodied and rich and will keep you rich is the Game Time app. I cannot stress this to you guys enough. I just cannot stress it to you enough. I know I've said it over and over again. Maybe you're going to be in Atlanta this Wednesday as well, and you want to go to Creed. First off, let's meet up, have a beer or some wine. Probably not wine at Creed, but, would love to say hello. And I know that if you're going, you're going to do the right thing and get on the Game Time app today. Go download the app. Use the promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. This is what I love most about this app. It's so user-friendly. It's so helpful. And the thing that they do better than anyone else, the customer service is fantastic. They will go out of their way to make sure that you are taken care of as a customer, which is something that has been long lost in the ticket service industry. Listen, there's two things that I'll tell you right now. The best thing they have the peace of mind. It's the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. Here is what I mean when I say that, okay? The Game Time guarantee, you'll always get the best price no matter what. If you find something else, if you've been taking the same section and row somewhere else for less, Game Time will credit you with 110% of the difference. Say you lose your job, you have job loss assurance. If you lose it and need a refund, Game Time has you covered. If there's an event cancellation, they have event cancellation protection, automatic full refunds for events that are canceled and not rescheduled. And they also have a 24-hour guarantee. Return your tickets within 24 hours from time of purchase for a full credit to your Game Time account. No questions asked. Listen, this is from them. I'm gonna translate the message. We love our fans. We're committed to ensuring you have an outstanding experience when you buy from Game Time. Our team is proud to offer the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry, so you can rest assured we've got your back. Buy with confidence, knowing your purchase is covered by Game Time ticket coverage. That includes the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, 24-hour returns guarantee, job loss assurance, on-time ticket delivery. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right, let's get into the second thing that is most important about this game. And you guys have heard me talk about it before. It is taking care of the football. It is taking care of the football. And you guys know I'm a big stickler about this. I bring it up all the time. And I'll be quick about it this time. I promise. Because I know you guys are probably tired of it. Okay. Wofford last week became the fourth time you were able to win a game, right? Win a game by not winning the turnover battle. That's insane. That's insane. I think overall the numbers were something crazy like 24 out of 30. So you're at 80%. 80% when you win the turnover battle or finish even, you win those games. Going into Wofford, you were 3-15. So you're now 4-15. Allie, what's 4 divided by 15? Can you look it up? I have an assistant. She's been fantastic. Very excited I'm not going to introduce her, but she's been very helpful. Because there's no way she did that right. She says 93.3%, so that's not right. 4 divided by 15. Good radio. 26.6%. Pretty sure that's wrong too. Anyway, so here's the deal. That is wrong. I had a phone next to me the whole time. Guys, we're living well. All right, here we go. 21%. Okay? You're winning 21% of your games when you lose the turnover battle. You have to win the turnover battle, guys. We have got to win the turnover battle. I'll tell you the games that you played where you didn't win the turnover battle, and you just register it up here, okay? This is going to shock you, all right? Here's the 3 games you didn't do it before Wofford. LSU, -1. Mississippi, -1. Alabama, -2. Shocker, you lost all 3 of those games. You look at the turnaround since then. Going into Wofford last week, you were +5 in your previous 4 games. That's where you have to live. That is where we have to live. Listen, here's the other thing too. Total gained. For the beginning of the season, you put up a crooked number and had at least 2 or more in your first 3 games. You saw in the middle of the season, Bama, Oklahoma, A&M, 2-4-2. So that is in a twice in a 3-game stretch this season where you put up 8 total turnovers in 3 games. You didn't have one against Wofford, right? It's the first time all year you didn't force a single turnover. First time all year. It's actually the first time in the last 15 games that you hadn't forced a single turnover. That's got to change. You've got to go out there. You've got to figure out a way to turn Clemson over. Kate Klubnik has not turned over the ball a ton, right? But here's the deal. He has not faced a defense like he's going to face this weekend. They are +13. They are +13 in the turnover margin. They've only lost the turnover battle 1 time all season, and that was in week 1 against Georgia. You got to figure out a way. You have absolutely got to figure out a way to turn these people over. Now, when you talk about like their total gained on the year, they've gained 20 total turnovers. That ranks, I believe, oh man, let me pull it up. It's got to be pretty high. Total gained, that ranks 14th nationally. That's tied with South Carolina. Okay. You got interceptions that they've gained. They've gained 13 on the year. That ranks in the top 20. It's 18th nationally. These are all things that you've got to figure out a way to go into. Like they're +13 on the year. They don't make a ton of mistakes giving the ball away. +13. Guys, that's 4th in the country. 4th. And they are also 4th in turnovers lost with just 7 all season. You got to figure out a way. Like let's just keep it easy. Stay even. Just stay even. That's all we need from you. I don't need you to be superheroes. I need you to go out and play sound, fundamental football, and you will leave Death Valley, fake Death Valley, with a win. But you have got to play sound, fundamental football. You cannot shoot yourself in the foot. You cannot make mistakes deep in your own territory. You cannot do the things that Clemson did against you 2 years ago in that stadium. Cannot do it. Can't effing happen. Does everyone get it? It is huge. It is a huge deal. You've got to make sure you protect the football. And it's just doing the little things, right? Like this offense at the start of the year was so much of just chunk play or nothing. Kentucky, you got a couple big 3rd downs early on and some broken plays that got you touchdowns. Not really Alabama, but like LSU, the 2 long runs from Rocket and Sellers in the first half. Like, you have got to figure out a way to be more consistent like you've been over the last several weeks. And I love it. I love the fact that we're getting more people involved. I love the fact that Josh Simon's now become the best tight end in the country, or in the SEC, maybe the country. I don't know. But like, you have been doing a phenomenal job at doing the little things right. You got to continue doing the little things right, or we're going to be in trouble, right? All right. The last key to the game I will bring up right after this break. Locked on Gamecocks continues next. All right, we are back. We are back. Listen, guys, before we get into the very last segment, the keys and the prediction for this game, I'm going to tell you right now, one last time, let's finish out the year and make some money, okay? Let's just do that. How does that sound to everyone, okay? Let's do that with our friends at FanDuel. You've heard me brag on them before, and with good reason. They are phenomenal. They are America's #1 sportsbook. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app, or FanDuel Sportsbook app, it has everything you could possibly need all in one single, easy, one-stop shop. I love it. You'll love it too. It also has everything you could possibly want in terms of trying to make the best possible bet you can make in one place. If you're trying to find updated stats, live play-by-play, all that kind of stuff, to make a live bet in-game, you get a hunch, anything like that, don't let that go to waste. Don't ever let a hunch go to waste. And make sure you are using FanDuel.com today. And again, you get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Sign up, place a $5 bet. You get that right, you win $150. Simple as that. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. I tell you what, one of the things I would make, or I would put a bet on right now, South Carolina to make the playoff currently is plus 540. Hammer it. Let's get into it. All right, here's the final part of this that I keep coming back to. Georgia really comes out in the death march in their new stadium, or their not new stadium, but out of the locker room now. Here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. This game means a ton. It means a ton to a ton of different people. The last key I have is where I'm going to get a little aggressive. I'll just be honest with you. There is nothing more satisfying as a fan, as a player, as anything like that, than going into someone's house, putting your feet up on their table, eating their food, taking their livelihood, and walking out the front door. Don't say the F word. Blank Clemson. Screw Clemson. Clemson sucks. Clemson sucks. Been a great program. Been a great run. Beat you 8 out of 9 years. Awesome. That time comes to an end on Saturday. Now you start a winning streak in their effing building. Okay? You start a winning streak in their effing house. Put your feet up on their effing table. I can't say it louder. I can't say it any more simpler either. Wow, great. Hold on. We got an Uber Eats order coming. This is terrible radio. Go into their house, into fake Death Valley. Watch them run down the hill. Dabo do that stupid sprint in his Dockers khakis and all that crap. We're the better team. Clemson is not a better team than South Carolina right now. I said this the other day, and I mean it still. Offense, I'm taking South Carolina right now. Defense, I'm taking South Carolina. Special teams, I'm taking South Carolina. You have a distinct advantage, it seems like. For the first time in a decade where you're better. I'm not saying a distinct advantage in all three, but of having all three phases of the game in your back pocket. You are the better team at all those things. You have the coach that has been better in game and better at adjusting to the new landscape of college football and better at seeing the big picture of what the program should be and how to effing get there than Clemson. You have that right now at South Carolina. You do. That's in our back pocket. Go into Clemson, steal their lunch money, embarrass their ass on national television, and come back home with a dub. Be the 6th one in a row. 9-3, and you were in the playoff. This team has dominated on the road. Remember in week 2 when I told you I was worried about going to Clemson or going to Kentucky. You left Kentucky with what? What was it? You left Kentucky with a 25-point win. Then you went to Bama. You lost by 2. You went to Oklahoma. You won by 26. You went to Vandy. You won by 21. You're 3-1 on the road this year. You've had more wins on the road this year than Shane Beamer had in his previous 3 seasons combined against SEC opponents. Think about that. and you won every single one of those by 20-plus points. Don't give a blank about the road. Don't care about everyone in orange and purple that have been sipping fake mimosas since 11 a.m. in the Baptist church parking lot. I don't care. You're the better team. Go out there and beat their ass, flat out. Go out there. Listen, here's the thing I say all the time, and I'm going to say it one more time because I've heard Clemson fans talk trash all week. You can talk all the trash you want on Twitter, on your message boards, on Tiger Rag or whatever the hell that thing is, just people always complaining in purple and orange, all that. You can do that all you want. But on Saturday at noon, they're going to tee up that effing football, and you got to line up and go play Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart and Nick Emanwari and LaNorris effing Sellers and Rocket Sanders. And you got to figure out a way to stop them and block them and all the above and keep them out of your damn end zone and keep them out of your backfield and keep them out of your house and have their feet off of your table, and it ain't going to happen. South Carolina beats Clemson 24-20. Book it. Love you guys. We'll be back tomorrow no matter what for a post-game recap. Hope all of you have a great night. We're going to have a great Saturday. Go Cox, Cox by 90. See y'all then.